So I don't do a lot of these. I'm mainly focused on sales and helping you drive more sales. That's what my YouTube channel is all about. But we're going deep on leadership. My YouTube channel is higdongroup.com/channel. We started it 1 year ago and we got almost 35,000 subscribers, which God has been so good, so good. Well, let's jump in. I have worked literally all week on putting together a killer training for you. So you're going to discover 5 reasons your sales team isn't producing more and how to fix it. Now, some of you on here, maybe you don't have a team yet. And so I think it would be very wise to learn all the kind of stumbling blocks of leadership. I think it's very wise of you to be on here. If you don't have a team, I think it's extremely wise for you to be on. You want to dress for the part that you want, right? They say that in corporate America. They say dress for the, if you want to be the manager, dress as the manager, right? You want to gain the wisdom of where you want to go. If you're in any kind of sales where you can build a team, then this would make a whole lot of sense. I'll give you one fun example. Before we left Florida, Nashville is now our primary area, but we go back and forth between Southwest Florida and Nashville. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, I mean, she's been doing 30 million a year in real estate sales down in Florida. And I said, hey, we should train like a team. Like you should do some training for a team. She jumped on that. And this month, now we haven't been in Florida for, I think, 3 months. This month, she'll close over $5 million in sales. Not from her, but from her team. So this applies to network marketing, real estate, financial planning, anywhere where you have a team that can produce commissions that you get an override of. If you're on here and you have a team, and don't be embarrassed. If you don't have a team yet, totally fine. It makes a lot of sense for you to be on here and learn, right? So some of you, and I'm sure some of you have humongous teams. I'm going to share with you from working with leaders for the last 20 years, the 5 reasons your sales team isn't producing more, and more importantly than that, because some of these will be obvious, but how to fix. This is a proven framework for creating more consistent producers without constantly pushing, motivating, or babysitting your team. Quick question. How would it feel to get way more production out of your existing team? What would that be like? That'd be pretty fun. And I think more importantly, what if you could do that without dragging them, without constantly motivating them? Wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't that be good? You're going to discover how to make this a reality with all that I share with you. Why lead a team? Okay. Maybe that's a question. J. Paul Getty said, I'd rather earn 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. This week, my wife's husband was asking me, he has a cleaning business, and he was asking me for advice. I was talking to him about, he's doing a lot of the different things in the business and just talking to him about more smartly managing the team and stuff. And then I ran across I don't know how many of you know her, Cody Sanchez. I think she's amazing. She talks a lot about buying businesses, et cetera. And she says, the smart people, they buy their time. They don't go make money then buy their time. They buy their time. They look at, how do I have more leverage in my time? We're here in Tennessee, and we got Lord's blessed us with 5 acres here, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. Hey, listen, not that long ago, I lost everything in the real estate crash, went through foreclosure. I mean, just to pinch me that we're on these beautiful 5 acres. It's amazing. But the landscapers came today. It's 5 acres, huge hills of 52,000 trees, like just sheer madness. First of all, I'd have to get a couple machines, right? I'd have to get a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 low mower, right? I'd have to get a weed eater. I'd have to get all this stuff. And it would take me, literally hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And we pay them like $150 a week. Best $150 I spend. I assure you. It's, how do I get more leverage out of my time? Now, if someone's on here and they just love doing the yard, then move closer to me, of course. But if you love washing your truck or washing your car or whatever, then do that, right? So it's not that we want to take away things that we love to do, but it's a combination of, how do I earn more per hour? How do I get leverage out of the limited time that I have? And that's leading a sales team is absolutely one of those ways. It absolutely is one of those ways. 150 is an absolute bar. I was shocked because we actually paid more than this when we were in Naples on 2 acres, and it was flat. This is 5 acres with crazy hills and like very steep climbs and crazy amount of trees. Like it's just awesome. But you want to think about not just getting paid off your own efforts. Warren Buffett, he says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die, right? Now, there's a couple ways you can do that, right? It's not just lead a sales team, but it is investing, right? You can learn how to invest your money, get dividends and get residual income, et cetera. But for many, they don't have the size of investment that would make a meaningful return. Growing a sales team is just a very, very powerful option for most people. And the truth is, if you ever want to live life on your terms, you're going to need to learn how to create income. You're going to need to learn how to make money that isn't just your active money. Okay. Just your money that you have to do the work to get. And so leading the team it just makes a lot of sense. If you want to make more money and you don't want to babysit harder, and you know what that means, you know what that looks like, you're in the right place. Because I'm not about you being the micromanager. I'm not about you walking around with a clipboard and smacking people around and trying to revive the dead and all that kind of stuff that people say, right? It's being smart about systems, processes, boundaries, very important. And I want to help you with that. I've done this with a whole bunch of different teams, and I'm telling you, it works like crazy. I remember when I worked with Mary and Seamus out of Ireland, they had been in their company for 5 years. They had ran a contest like, I mean, I don't know, like 10 times a year or something. Like they had ran out 50 contests. They ran this. They had the most volume in their entire career for that month. I'm just very grateful. I'm very quickly going to share a tiny bit about me. I've been at this for a while. Before I was ever a coach, and now I'm primarily a sales coach. I train people around sales. Earlier this week, I was on with a gentleman. He has 120,000 people in his organization. He decided to move forward and hire me, and I'm going to work with him. And then I'm actually on with a private equity firm. They manage 50,000 rental units in the United States. And I'm going to talk to them about helping their leasing agents with a couple holes that I see in their processes, see if I can help them. So I'm primarily training sales teams, and sometimes I'm doing business development. So I'm also working with a peptide doctor right now to help him scale his business. We're actually going to help him take his company public. So that'll be cha-ching. And I also have a real estate client that has an amazing real estate app that basically automates the punch list, automates the walkthrough using AI, creates all the work orders for him before his butt hits the seat in his truck. So I have a lot of interesting clients that I get the opportunity to work with. But before I was ever any of that, I was the number one earner of a network marketing company. So I understand what it takes to lead. I understand what it takes to have a lot of pressure on you. We launched some of you may know it, a little group called Rank Makers. And since 2017, we've actually helped our students achieve over 14,000 rank advances in the space of direct sales and network marketing. I've seen hundreds of our students become top earners. I've helped hundreds of frustrated leaders create freedom through systems, processes, and boundaries. And I just love seeing people shine. Now, first of all, I'm going to share a few people that have hired me to help them with different things in their business. I cannot show you all because I've been doing this 20 years, but there are a few that kind of came on my heart that I wanted to highlight. Many of you know Stephanie. She's amazing. She's hired me a few different times and I've been helping her. She's just an absolute rock star, cares about her people so much. And I just love working with her. We got, some of you have heard John and Nadia Melt. We have a video of John saying, hey, Ray's the one that took me from 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month. They're just absolute rock stars. And by the way, these guys had a fantastic level of success before I ever even got involved, but I'm honored to be part of their journey. We have my friend Simon Chan. Simon Chan, years ago, he joined my Diamond Mastermind, which was an extremely hefty investment of $50,000. I helped him with an event he was having the next month, and he actually got his investment back in 30 days. So that's not typical. Results may vary, but that was a pretty cool one. We got my good friend Nicola Smith Jackson, worked with her for several years. I see that she's roaring in the industry right now and just rocking it. My friend Mark Harbert, I helped him with some different launches, and he's just a rock star. I love doing stuff with him. Samara Rempel, she is a total rock star. She was 13 years as a waitress in Canada, got fired during the pandemic. And I worked with her in 2024 primarily, and some of 2025. And then 2025 was our first $1 million year. Christy Morgan out of Australia. I'll share more about her here in a little bit, but just a total rock star. Amy Murphy, one of my favorite stories. She had been in direct sales for 17 years, had never made a profit. Okay. Had never made a profit. So she had lost money each year for 17 years, gets into our training, gets into our coaching, does $5 million in her company. And I believe she's now pursuing her acting career. So proud of her. She's amazing. So I love seeing people shine. I love helping people up level and take what they already have and really whatever, 10x, 100x, 1000x, whatever you want to say. And I just love it. I just love seeing these guys win. Most of these guys or all of these guys are on their company stages, et cetera. And just so proud of them. Just so proud of them. There's some amazing people in this one picture. Here's some some myths about large teams. And if you think this, you are going to self-sabotage. Okay. You may have a team right now of 10 people, 20 people, right? And you're thinking, oh my goodness, if I had a team of 100, I'd be exhausted. Well, only if you keep leading them the same way you're leading your current people. That's the only problem there. I mean, I think probably a dozen times I've coached people who have a team of over 100,000. My largest leader I ever coached had 750,000. Coached a lady out of Belgium, had 380,000. But I can tell you, there's a way for you to lead that size of team and not be exhausted. There's a way. Okay. Maybe you think that the bigger the team, the bigger the drama. No. And one thing that's very important, and some of you need to hear this, you need someone from the outside to poke you with a stick and tell you, is you teach people how to treat you. You teach people how to treat you. If you have someone that's literally driving you crazy, it's because you're allowing it. When you go from no boundaries, I'm the mama bear that's here to put everyone's diaper on and everything, to having boundaries, the people that want to suck your energy and time the most are not going to like it. They're not going to like it. I'm just telling you, they're not. But what level of self-respect do you have to gain your time back? And I mean, you can tell, I just know the issues of those in leadership that are struggling with this kind of thing. Okay. Maybe you think that recruiting more is the only answer. And I'm going to be honest, recruiting more is always a good idea. It's always a good idea, but it's not the only answer. Because if you're recruiting in a way that either is filled with sabotage, stumbling blocks, or non-duplicatable methods, then you're never going to recruit yourself out of this problem. It's always going to be a problem. I would say the majority of top recruiters that I've talked to really struggle with leadership. They'll go on a tear and go bring in 20, 30 people a month, but not have any duplication. And I've seen that. I've seen where someone's really great at getting customers or really great at recruiting, but they really struggle with duplication, and you're going to be on the hamster wheel forever. You got to crack that code. It's not that difficult, but there's some decisions that you have to make. But all of that is untrue. And I'm going to talk about all of that. Can I be blunt with you? Well, guess what? It's my webinar. I'm going to be anyway. So even if you say no, here it comes. If you don't learn systems, processes, and boundaries, you're probably going to burn out. Probably. I've seen a lot of extremely talented salespeople and extremely talented people just not make it. Or they think that, well, it must be the company. Yeah, the company's the problem. They jump company, they start doing what they did in the last one, and all of a sudden they got the same exact problem. You have to figure this out. If you are leading a team, you have to figure this out. And so over the last 20 years, like I mentioned, I've seen incredible high potential people not learn leadership and end up getting out of the game. All of this, working with leaders, writing the leadership book, between working with leaders for the last 20 years, between writing that book and getting the feedback from that book, it's what led me to create the Sales Leadership Mastermind, where I break down all the systems and processes that I've learned and what's helped our clients. I'll talk a little bit about that. But first, I want to dig into the actual problems and what that looks like for you. Who is this for? Is this for someone wanting more production out of their existing team? Someone worn out from babysitting their existing team? Someone sick of feeling like they're constantly seeing their people, pouring from an empty cup, right? And someone who wants to have a thriving team and wants to do it the right way. Here they are. And I'm going to break down each one for you. But these are, in my opinion, the 5 most likely reasons your team isn't producing. This isn't necessarily in order, but the first one is a very big one. Either they lack hope, you're sabotaging them by your lack of boundaries. Now, that statement right there may smack you in the face, because you probably think, well, what the heck are you talking about? I'm sabotaging them by my lack of boundaries? What are you saying? I'm there for them night and day. Yeah, and that's the problem. That's actually a problem. And I'm going to dig into that. I'll explain to you exactly why, and you will understand. Okay. Number 3, this is extremely common. And I can't wait to show you the picture I came up with for number 3, but your training assumes that they have influence. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see, and it is more prevalent today than it's ever been. We're in the age of the influencer. Now, I'm not anti-influence. I'm not anti-influencers, but often the influencers lack discernment on the difference between them and their organization. Most people in your organization do not have influence. But if you teach them tactics that work only for influencers, that's a problem. For some of you, that'll be your biggest takeaway. Number 4, your contests suck and only lift the 1%ers. Or number 5, you're spending too much time on the wrong people and the wrong things. Now, that is a little bit similar to number 2, but I'm going to give you a different angle on it. Let me tell you, you tackle these 5 reasons, you are going to be rocking and rolling more than most leaders leaders out there. I'm very, very serious, but let's dive in. Let's get into the details. Number one, they lack hope. Many people in your organization, they don't think that someone like them can create success. They look at you and they're like, man, she's a rock star. She seems to always be motivated, and I never hear about her bad days. She must not have them. See, they assume that they're different than you. And so they assume that they're the only ones that think about quitting, that wonder if they're even in the right place, that they see you as the rock star, the amazing. This is a problem. So some of you on here, you go to your team and you tell them word for word, step by step, what to do, and they don't do it. Why? You told them screen by screen what to do. You told them exactly what to do. You told them the scripts. You told them the words. You basically paint by numbers. If you can follow the back of a easy bake brownie box, you can do it, but they won't do it. Why? Because they think someone like them can't create success. They look at you as the hero, and you have yet to learn how to make them feel like the hero. So many on your team, they don't think someone like them can create success. Also, you'll hear this theme all throughout because it's such a major thing. They don't want to do what you do, or they don't think they can do what you do. So if you're like, well, Ray, I do 10 Zooms a week for my people, and I do every, I'm on, I tell them, don't try to close, get me on a 3-way call. Guess what? Do that. They don't want to do 10 Zooms a week. They don't want to be on 52 3-way calls every day. They'll express their gratitude to you. Oh, thank you. And then they'll get off that phone or Zoom and be like, oh, geez, man, I never want to be a 5-star director. Holy crap. Look at what all they got to do. Oof. They don't want to do it, or they just don't think they can do it. Now, here's an example. Some of you are extremely smart. So smart. You got product knowledge up the wazoo. You can tell them that the aluminum plates are perfectly balanced for the quantum capacitator and the amino acid, whatever, right? The more knowledge you spew upon them, the more they think they need to know that, and it's intimidating. They think, geez, I'm not a quantum physicist. I don't think I can do this business. You don't have to be a quantum physicist to do any of this kind of business. You want to be someone who is a connector. And when you are so filled with knowledge, that is not connecting. That is showing the difference between you and them. So it, again, making you the hero. Okay. Now, what's the best remedy? Because I told you, I'm not just going to agitate you and say, here's the problem, and well, good luck, guys. What's the best remedy for this? Vulnerability and boundaries. Vulnerability and boundaries. Here's what I've learned. And I just talked about this. I was on a call earlier today. People are cool with your ups if they're aware of your downs. People are cool with your ups if they're aware of your downs. Okay. So what do I mean by that? People are cool with your ups if they're aware of your downs. So anytime I feel like I'm doing any level of bragging to you, I actually already did it. So when I brought up the story about my landscaper, I said, God's blessed us with 5 acres. What did I do? I said, it wasn't that long ago that I actually lost everything in real estate and went through foreclosure. Because if I just leave you with, yes, God has blessed us with 5 acres, life is good. You're like, oh, good for you, buddy. Right? Golf clap. People don't want to hear that. But if I share with you, I can share with you almost any up. If I share with you a down, if I share with you a struggle. So my first time doing a public speech, like public speaking, and it wasn't even public. I worked for the Board of Commissioners, Collier County. I was a lowly, I think it was a junior project manager or something like that. And my boss asked me to do a presentation about the code enforcement project that I was doing. Okay. I'm like terrified. I've never spoken in front of a group ever. I don't sleep for 3 days. I go to the library. I get the Idiot's Guide to Speaking or whatever it is, the Dummy's Guide or something. And that morning, I'm looking at my phone. It's back when you had a phone that was attached to the wall. It was very strange. It had a cord on it. Like, what? I'm looking at the phone. I'm going to call in. I'm not going to go in. I'm going to just not go. And I knew that whenever I showed up, she would make me do it anyway. And so I'm just like, I go in, I do the presentation, and in the book, the speaking books out there, they tell you, if you screw up, no one knows. I'm like, oh, ooh, right? So I do it. I somehow develop a stutter. I spill water down my shirt, but I get through it. Great. Afterwards, I'm pulled into her office and she's like, shut the door, please. I'm like, oh, okay. And what is she, why am I shutting her door? I shut the door and she goes, Ray, are you on drugs? I'm like, guess I didn't do so well. I guess they do know when you mess up, right? I remember sitting in my green Hyundai Sonata in the parking lot, and I'm just like, I'm just going to leave. I'm just, this will be a 6-year gap in my resume. I'm just going to drive and never come back. And instead, and I really, looking back, I really feel God guided me. I went to the local college and enrolled in speech class. And then I joined Toastmasters. And my first $1 million day from stage was 2015. Now, if I just hit you with that, yes, did $1 million from stage, right? And you're like, oh, golf clap. Oh. But when I share my journey, it should give you hope. As a leader, you want to always remember, share your past struggles, share even your current struggles to a degree. We typically want to teach from a scar, not a wound, right? But you sharing what you've overcome versus just your highlight reels, which is kind of the way of the influencer. A lot of influencers, they like to show just the good stuff, right? And when you only show the good stuff, you leave a bunch of people that are followers, not leaders, followers, but they lack hope that they can ever be you. They want to be you in a way, but they don't think they can because they're not aware of where you struggled. Does this make sense? All right, back to this. Number 2, sabotage. Okay. So you think you're giving your team your all, but you're really showing them what they don't want to be. They don't want to be at someone else's beck and call. If you're the one answering every call at midnight, they may appreciate it and say, hey, thank you so much. But they're like, dang, I never want to be that. And they'll think that whatever level of leadership you are, that's what it entails. They actually will sabotage. They'll say, I don't want to be that. No thanks. If you hear people say, oh, I could never do all that you do, you may take that as a compliment. It actually is a glaring revelation that you are not showing up in a way that they believe they can do it. It's actually a major problem. I can never do all that you do. Or if they say, oh, easy for you to say. So if you hear people say, oh, easy, yeah, that's easy for you to say, then what are they saying? They're actually saying that whatever you have, I do not have, and this is why I cannot succeed. Similar to the last one, right? Hope. They lack hope. Now, when you combine this with not being vulnerable and you always being the hero, you paralyze the majority. Most people just aren't going to do it. They're not going to do the work you're telling them to do, even if you paint it by numbers, you tell them step by step, you give them word for word what to do. It's not going to do it. If they don't want to be what you represent, they don't want to be that hardworking busy bee, the hustle grinder, or they don't have hope. Okay. I'm sure some of you may have been stung by that one. Samara, I'll share her real quick. She says, hey, I worked with Ray both one-on-one. I've hired him to train my team on multiple occasions. When he came to mentor my downline in person, the shift was immediate. Love that. I gave them actionable tools and mindset breakthroughs they needed to finally run their business with confidence and posture. And she experienced rapid growth and duplication in her organization. I helped her with some blind spots. She's just amazing. She's incredible. All right. So here is my wife's favorite picture. I showed her this picture and she goes, ooh, I want my office like that. It's so rare for me to find training for teams that doesn't make way too many assumptions. Okay. Now, again, I'm not anti-influencer. Love influencers. They're amazing. If you are influential, you have to realize you are different. You are different than the majority of people in your organization. And if you assume that they have influence, or you just share with them, here's what works. I was at this event and this guy gets up on stage and he's a great speaker. Like, I'm seriously, I literally love him as a speaker. I think he's one of the best speakers I've seen. And he gets up on stage and he goes, I recruited the first 60 people I talked to, and this is what I said. And I'm just like, oh no. And everyone in the audience, of course, I mean, if a script went 60 for 60, wouldn't you write it down? Everyone's like, oh, what was the third word? What was the third word? Oh, they're getting carpal tunnel, or they're popping ibuprofen, right? If someone recruits 60 out of the script, that person had massive rapport and influence over those 60 people. No one cold messages and gets 60 for 60. No one on the planet. It wasn't the script. It was how those people viewed that person. So he's basically like the mayor of his town. He's like a super success story, and he could have said anything and those people would have moved forward. He was teaching this thing that I'm going to say, okay, it's true. I'm going to assume it's true. He wasn't just lying. I'm going to assume it's true. Not healthy though. Now, how many people, there was that event, there were 300 or 400 people probably. How many of those people went out and attempted to execute the script and it didn't work? And so they drew the conclusion that they're an idiot. It's a problem. And again, I see this more than I don't. Things like just be yourself. Just be yourself. You don't need scripts. You don't need scripts. Just be yourself. That'll be fine. That's good enough. Just be authentic, boo. Be authentic. Most people don't know how to build rapport. Most people don't know. They don't have skills around sales. No one's taught them this. These things they're literally nails in the coffin. They're literally taking people who might have had success and just burying them. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Now, how can I say that? How can I possibly say that? How can I say that you don't need scripts is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard? Because I have experience. If you go to the Gartner Group, okay, Gartner Group is a humongous software consulting company. They sell $200,000 packages, $50,000 packages. Guess what? They use scripts. I've never seen, there is no other industry that is tied around sales that tells people just be yourself. You don't need scripts, right? Now, this doesn't mean to sound scripted, right? But you gotta give people a chance here and help them with some words, because most people left to their own devices say stupid things. They're not dialed in. They're not dialed in. They need help. You know, when I first started, I wasn't great. I had to learn some stuff. It's not to sound scripted, but saying just be yourself. You don't need scripts, be authentic. To someone who's influential, sure, that'll work. And some people, they only get a lift in their team when they bring in an influencer. That's a broken system. That's a terrible system. You should be able to take someone who's never had success in any way, shape, or form. They follow the system. And if they follow the system, they get some results. Now, it may be a lower percentage than some, but they get some results. That's good systems and processes. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Yeah, you can. You can be eager. You can be chasey, beggy, buggy. And you can take someone who is actually interested in your thing and they say, no, thanks. I'm out of here. You know this is true. How many know these things are true? How many know that this is not the way to do it? Again, I'm not saying that everything has to be scripted, but for you to say, just good luck, be yourself, you're taking people who want to succeed, then chances are greatly diminishing. These kind of phrases, which I hear all the time, it assumes that they either have skill or influence. You should assume neither. So if you went to a Gartner Group, right? If you went to a company that had you doing outbound sales, which, oh, by the way, that's another thing, direct sales network marketing, only industry, only profession, that said you'll have a subset of people say, oh, you should never do cold messaging. Every other industry does it. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He lives 10 minutes from me here, and he has this invention, and it literally prevents AC clogged drains. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Clogged drains. The average cost of a clogged AC, of a drain being clogged, is $5,500. His machine guarantees you won't have that clog. Of people with air conditioning have that problem. Guess what? His son's out there doing cold calling, because that's what every industry does. Only this industry do you have a subset of people that say don't do cold messaging, and guess who they usually are? That didn't need to do cold messaging. It's one of the reasons that I'm very proud of Christy Morgan in Australia. She had a thriving team. She's doing over $1 million a year. She hires me and she's like, hey, I want you to teach my team cold messaging, but first I want you to teach me, because I want to make sure it works. I'm like, okay, I teach her. And in less, I think a little bit over 60 days, she does $100,000 in personal commissions just from cold messaging. Strangers, run. When you have someone say, don't ever do cold messaging, run from them, because they don't have experience outside of this industry, and they're even diminishing their experience inside this industry. Run from them, please. Speaking of Christy, there you go. But she went from stagnant, like she was just not doing sales, to over 100,000 in personal commissions in 60 to 90 days. And she's so kind. I won't read it all there, but she's amazing. Number 4, your contests suck. Now, I won't spend much time on this, but if you want to turn off 90% of your team, like I don't know who's asking for this, but if you're on here and you're like, hey man, I really want to turn off 90% of my team because they're just too much on fire. I'm worried about paying taxes. How do I do that? Simple. You can either, one, do a really long contest, like a 90-day run or something, or just do a contest where only the first, second, and third get a prize. That's how you do it. Most people, they don't have that they can succeed. Do you think they have hope that they can be first, second, or third? Absolutely not. Of course not. If you're only speaking to those who believe they can be first, second, or third, I'm being generous with saying 10%. It's less than 10% of your team. It's probably more like 3, maybe 4%. So you are turning off more than 90% of your team when you do a contest and it's first, second, third. Now, number 5, bad use of time. Oh man, does this need to be a tattoo? Okay. Some people seek attention more than production. Some people seek attention more than production. You need to understand that, because if you fall for it, This is like Charlie Brown when he's going to kick, was it Lucy? I think, Lucy's holding the football and this time she's going to hold on to it. And Charlie's like, are you sure? Because you always pull it away. Oh yeah, absolutely. But you go to kick it and she pulls it away and he falls on his face, right? Or on his back. There are people that they learned in grade school, they learned in kindergarten that if they raised their hand, they got attention and they didn't actually want to get the A, but they just wanted the attention. Maybe they weren't getting it at home. Maybe the absent father, like we don't know, right? We don't know. But there are people that seek attention more than production. You have to have discernment. I remember there was a time, I should dig up the picture actually, but there was a time where I was 255 pounds. That is, let's see, 70? Yeah, holy cow. That's 70 pounds heavier than I am right now. 70 pounds heavier, right? I was working at that same board of commissioners job and there was this guy there and he was very young. I mean, he's like 19, maybe 20, big bro, big dude. I mean, he was a largeon. And he says to me, he's like, Ray, man, dude, I really need to lose weight, man. I really need to lose weight. And I'm like, dude, I'm happy to help, man. Cause I was, when someone loses weight, like they're fired up, man. Like they feel good, don't you? I mean, you've lost a little bit of weight and you just like, yeah, man, I'm happy to help you, man. And your heart goes out to someone who's wanting to lose weight too. You're in the same boat and and so I sit down with him and I say, you know what, I park far away. So I walk farther. I take the stairs, I eat small amounts. I don't go overgorge or anything like that. I'm giving him all my tips. I'm giving him all the tricks. I'm the things I stopped eating and now I eat this and I'm giving him all these different things. 45 minutes, man. I pour into him. I just poured my heart into him and I'm just like, walk back to my desk. Like, man, I'm a good guy, man. I spent it, he didn't pay me or anything, helped him out. And then I thought, oh, you know what? I forgot something. I gotta go tell him about, I go back around. He's eating Fritos. He just looks at me. I look at him. I'm like, got it. Now, I'm going to take myself off camera for this next one because you may be mad at me. You ready for this one? I don't think you are. If you continue to coach the uncoachable, they're not the idiot. Sorry. I'm sorry. I've had people tell me, Ray, I got this one person on my team and I spent, every week we meet together and I help them out and I tell them this and they don't do it. And I'm like, okay, why are you continuing to meet with them? I'm sorry, but it's true. They're not the problem. We teach people how to treat us. And if they can play fetch with us without any repercussions, without any notice of them doing the work or not doing the work, then they're going to keep doing it. This is kind of fun for them. Yay. Look, here, watch how I can get Oscar on the phone. Watch this. Hey, Oscar, I'm thinking about doing something. Oh, good. And we get excited. We're optimistic. Like we want to help people. And if someone expresses that they want to do something, like, yeah, baby, we're in. Let's help. Your best way. And I learned this. I always love giving him a shout out. A gentleman named Larry Thompson, just amazing individual. Your best and most duplicatable way of leadership is way simpler than you're thinking. And it is go do this, report back in. Someone says, hey, how do I prospect on Facebook? Great question. We actually have a video. Go watch the video, report back in. Let me know any questions. Hey, man, I'm not really sure what to start. Oh, we have a fast start. Go watch the fast start, come back, report back in. Hey, I watched the fast start. I think I'm ready to prospect. Okay, great. Go prospect 2 people, report back in. Go do this, report back in is your friend. Now, some of you are so addicted to misusing your time, you're going to ask me, what if they don't report back in? You don't chase them. They know if they did it or not, and they'll report back in if they did. And if I see them, like if I see them at an event, I'm going to high five them. I'm going to hug them. I'm going to appreciate them. I'm going to love them. I'm not going to say, hey, you never reported back in, because I'm not trying to make them feel bad. I'm not trying to make them feel like a disappointment. They're probably already feeling that. I don't need to add to that. Okay. Now, depending on your industry, this may not be enough. Okay. This may not be enough, but for those of you who lead a volunteer army kind of thing, it's where you want to be. So you want to learn how to coach in a duplicatable way. Go do this, report back in. And if someone is rocking and rolling and they say, hey, can you come and help me? Absolutely. If someone is not rocking and rolling, then we want to help them get into production. We want to help point, guide, and direct them to get whatever questions they need or whatever they need. But it's not us investing all of our personal time. When we do that, we are losing time. We could be doing other things, working with the people that are rocking and rolling. We have to be smart with our time. And if you are jumping on call after call after call, that is extremely non-duplicatable. If you are on phone calls all the time, if you're constantly meet with the same person and every week, there's no update, there's no, that ain't the way. It's not the way. So who needed to hear that? I'm sure there's someone on here. Okay. Before we get to Q&A, I will get to Q&A. I know that there's nuances with leadership. There's probably some questions that you guys have. And also remember, stick around to the end. I'm going to give you a link to watch this training, The Fastest Way to Rank Advance. But before we get to Q&A, is it okay if I quickly share with you the details of my Sales Leadership Mastermind? Mastermind. I won't take a ton of time on this. Hopefully I've given you some value, earned some time with you. Some of you, this makes total sense. Not all, but some of you, this makes sense. But I'll quickly go through it and we'll do some Q&A as well. All right. For the Sales Leadership Mastermind, it's to become the leader you know you should be without burning yourself out or carrying the team. It contains 6 leadership modules, and I'm going to break those down for you, what that looks like. 6 live mentoring sessions. So once a month, we get together and we talk about leadership. We talk about what's going on in the team, what is duplicating, not duplicating, what are you struggling with, where do you need help? I have a leader right now that has one of her leaders left and is causing a fuss. I help navigate leaders through that kind of stuff because that happens all the time. And you got to be able to handle it, because if you don't handle that particular scenario well, you're going to cause a lot more damage. And I've just been through 1,000 of these things. And so I'm coaching her through it. 6 leadership modules, 6 live mentoring sessions, and each month will set you more free while increasing team production. Now, the retail value of the Sales Leadership Mastermind is $6,000. And I'll talk more about the different modules. Here's Carly. Working with Ray has been a powerful, incredibly helpful experience for both myself and my online business community. Hired me for an event, and then when I went above and beyond, and then they decided to hire me for training for the team. So she's awesome. Carly's great. I don't know how many of you know Carly, but she's incredible. And so module 1, we start with leadership reset and diagnostics. So you want to stop leading from habit. It will get easier, but I love how Dr. Joe Dispenza worded it. He said, breaking the habit of being you. That's very powerful words. Okay. Because some of you got to break the habit of how you've been leading. And I'm going to help point that out and show that to you. And this module really dives deep into it. It talks about why your team depends on you and how to change it, identifying where performance lives, breaking unconscious over involvement, moving from hero to architect. And then with mentoring, what is the priority drain? What should you be doing first? This month should start to create immediate relief. And I believe that module 1 is going to help you identify and eliminate any sabotage. And that right there is worth the investment for the whole thing. Now, I'm encouraging you, if you do decide to join, obviously go through all of it, but this module 1 packs a punch. It's content I've never seen anywhere else, but it's helped a lot of the leaders that I've worked with. Module 2, we get into systems that remove dependency, because the truth is structure beats effort. So you want to design sales systems that don't need you. There are still some people out there that are telling their people, don't you dare try to close that sale. Make sure you do a 3-way call. I'm not saying not to do 3-way calls, but to require them is crazy. It's just crazy. There are ways that you can help your people get better at the basics: prospecting, follow-up, and closing. And I can help you structure those things if you don't have those things. But systems replace meetings, clarity reduces questions, and you want to create predictable execution. By the way, this is Simplify. I love it. One of the leaders gave me a testimonial this week, actually. And she said, Ray doesn't add, he actually subtracts, and everything gets better. Because some of you are so overwhelmed because you're so overcommitted in your work and your effort and your work ethic and all that stuff. You see something like this, you're like, oh no, I can't add anything else. Well, no, this is about more smartly operating. So it's more about simplifying than adding. Module 3, boundaries and standards. This is going to be interesting for some of you because you have this boundaryless leadership thing going where anyone can take up any amount of your time anytime they want. And it's a form of like mom guilt where, I'm successful, they're not. I probably should spend a lot of personal time with them. But when you realize that actually may be causing a bigger problem than solving, you got to stop. You got to stop that. Why do boundaries feel scary? How to hold the line calmly, how to remove entitlement, because some of you have entitlement in your team right now, how to do that and without conflict. That's kind of a strong statement there, but with minimal conflict, because there are people that are toxic that seek attention more than production, and they're not going to go quietly when all of a sudden they don't have unlimited access to you. But all of a sudden you're not spending more time with your family. Your production is actually increasing. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. How to navigate boundary conversations, coaching you around language. This is such a high value module. Module 4, equipping your people to win. Prepared teams don't panic. So what your team must know to perform without you. So what to say, objection handling, energy and posture, why poorly equipped reps drain leaders, script refinement, conversation reviews, where leaders are rescuing. This will help your close rates of your team, of your overall team. And this is such a win because on the flip side, if I'm not talking leadership and I'm talking sales, if your people don't learn how to close, they go and quit. they're not just going to run forever if they're not closing sales. So that's why 90% of my efforts are around helping people close more sales. But I also run this alongside of that to help the leaders. Module 5, leading performance without pressure. Calm leadership creates strong teams. So how to drive results without emotional labor. So there's a word that I found from a friend of I got from a friend of mine actually, and it's a word that I've just fallen in love with, and the word is unhurried. Unhurried. See, I like that better than not striving. Like not striving sounds kind of lazy, maybe. Unhurried. It's implementing the right things that you know are going to work, knowing that the results are coming in an unhurried way. In a not an anxious way, not a high pressure way, anything like that. How to separate emotion from execution, leading through standards, replacing pressure with clarity. How to mentor demanding reps and reducing that emotional load and the whole dynamics of team coaching. And you will absolutely feel lighter. And then the final module, the free and scaled leader. And so scaling results without scaling yourself. This will have an identity shift. You are not going to move past for any length of time past your identity. You're just not, you're never going to remain in a place that you don't think you belong. You may get there. Some people, they reach this place, then it quickly crumbles. They quickly lose the rank, or they fall back because they didn't have the inner identity to maintain the mantle, to maintain the outwardly rank or position or size of team or whatever. What's the long-term leadership plan? What to keep, remove, reinforce, and help you just lock in transformation. The Sales Leadership Mastermind, again, 6 leadership modules, 6 live mentoring sessions, and that is a retail value of $5,997. And I mean, to me, this is a crazy question, but if all this did was help you get more production with less frustration, would it be worth $6,000? Man, I sure hope that is a yes, whether you're able to afford it or not. Like, hopefully that you see that value is there. What if I made it a little bit better? I want to give a bonus on here because you will have the opportunity. Now, I have not opened the opportunity to this. I have not done anything public about this. I haven't let anyone new in to the Sales Leadership Mastermind, but I am opening that. If you do decide to join the Sales Leadership Mastermind, you'll also get a one-on-one mentoring session with me. And that, depending on how I've been hired, the average for one-on-one mentoring sessions around $1,500. I have a client right now that we're doing kind of bigger, different stuff, and he's paying $2,500 a session. And I've had more, but kind of the average is what I've seen. You get the 6 modules, the 6 live mentoring sessions, the one-on-one session with me, and that's a retail value now of $7,497. And remember, this is very true. Whether you decide to work closer with me or not, if you don't learn systems, process, boundaries, you're very, very likely to burn out if you're trying to lead a team. Would it be worth $7,500 if this helped you create the life of your dreams? Hopefully that's a yes. And here's the bigger question: what's the cost of not fixing this stuff? See, that's the better question versus what is it worth versus what's the cost? How many more years spending frustrated with your team or feeling guilty or shame, whatever? None of that stuff helps. You feeling guilty or shameful is not helpful to anybody. I mean, well over a dozen times. I mean, I've had mentors I invested $100,000 with, $50,000 multiple times, $38,000, $25,000, probably 5-6 times. So many times I've invested more than what we are asking for this, for less than what's contained in this program. But what if I can make it a little bit easier of an investment? If I cut it by over 1,000, you get everything for 6,000. And keep in mind, I still want to show you that free download. But anyone who decides to join the Sales Leadership Mastermind will also get, now this is kind of crazy, you're going to be able to add a spouse or business partner for free. So we see that as a mega bonus. This is just, I want you to win. I want you to win. And if having a business partner or your spouse with you in this, if that's going to help, then let's do it. Okay. That is just, they get everything in the course, everything, the modules, everything. Here's the full kit and caboodle here, the 6 leadership modules, 6 live mentoring sessions, a one-on-one session with me, and you can add a spouse or partner for free. That's over almost $14,000 worth of value, but I want to make it a really no-brainer for you. I want to help leaders. I believe this industry really needs some help. I really believe that, to be honest, that there's a lot of issues going on in the industry that can be greatly helped with better systems and processes. You can join the Sales Leadership Mastermind for a one-time investment of only $2,997, or we even have a payment plan. Now, keep in mind that includes you, business partner, or spouse. You get a one-on-one call with me. You get the 6 modules. You get the 6 live mentoring sessions, and so you get everything today I talked talked about for $2,997. If that sounds good to you, you can go to higdongroup.com/leader. And by the way, I promised you that I would give you a free training on how to fastest way to rank advance. That is located on that page. Now, when you go to that page, higdongroup.com/leader, at the very tippy top, it says, if you're here for the free training, click here. It's at the very top. You can get that. You certainly don't have to sign up to get that. That's your gift for sticking around. I appreciate you. At the top of that page is your free download. If you want to get my help, then fill out the form on that page. And I would love to help you, would love to work with you. Again, higdongroup.com/leader. Marina, I hired Ray to train my downline. He exceeded expectations. One of those rare leaders that can instantly read the room, get a pulse on what people need, speak straight to what clarity, etc. And I won't read the whole thing, but she's awesome. She's amazing. So Tony has been in the Sales Leadership Mastermind for the last 7 months. And he just says, Ray doesn't give advice that sounds good. He coaches you on what actually works and gives you things you can put into action. So many ways that he felt stuck or blocked. And I've helped him to get to the real problem where I was running in circles trying to solve what I thought the problem was. Just super, super cool. He says, Ray has saved me years of trial and error trying to figure things out on my own. Grateful for the time he's invested in me and the impact his coaching has had. And then I love what Christy says here. He doesn't add more to your plate. He takes things off. And she says, 7 months in the Sales Leadership Mastermind, my business, my leadership, my entire personal and family life have improved immensely. Ray found the blind spots I couldn't uncover on my own, helped me remove them. So we're just so proud of her. She's amazing. There you go. higdongroup.com/leader. If this resonates with you, rock and roll. Would love to work with you. Again, you get the one-on-one call with me. You're able to add a business partner or spouse. You get the 6 modules. That's at higdongroup.com/leader. Okay. And then what questions do you have? How do you develop independent leaders instead of creating people who constantly depend on their upline? Here's the reality. All right. You're going to talk to people who join, right? You're going to have people that join. Some of them want to run and some of them want to lead, and they're not all the same. I'll give you an example. So I had a client several years ago, and she said, I don't know what to do with this person. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And she goes, well, I got this lady. She's in the team and she recruits like crazy, but she doesn't support her people. She doesn't even answer their questions. She doesn't come to the company events. And I've just had it up to here with her. And I said, okay, does she bash you? Does she create drama? Does she like throw a monkey wrench in the things that you're trying to do? And she goes, no. I asked her a few more questions and I said, okay, I know what to do. And she's like, okay, thank you. What do I do? I said, send her a gift basket. And she's like, what? Send her a gift basket. You have a super recruiter that isn't getting in your way. Send them a gift basket. Now, if they were causing drama and they were bashing your systems or whatever, then okay, then it's a different response. And so realize that some people are going to join, some people are going to run, some people are going to lead. We have culture, which I define in the leadership book here. For those that have it, don't have it, you can get it on Amazon. But culture is allowing people to feel good regardless of their level of desire or level of result. It is not to push everyone into becoming a producer because not everyone has that level of desire. It's smarter for you, and I talk about this in the book, it's smarter for you to think like the gym owner than a sales leader. Okay. What do I mean? So if I go to the gym and I got my Beats by Dre on, I got my headband, I got my sweat and spandex, everything, right? And I get on the treadmill, I run for 2 minutes, I watch CNN primarily, and then I take a selfie by the dumbbells, and then I go get a 2,200 calorie peanut butter banana chocolate shake. I'm literally gaining 3 pounds every time I go to the gym. What does the gym owner say to me? Way to kill it, buddy. You the man. Well, shouldn't he say, hey, I didn't see you work very hard over there. Drop down, give me 20. Lift your shirt, boy. Hey, go do some deadlifts. Shouldn't he say those things if he cared about me? No, because he's allowing me to self-execute my level of desire. And he really enjoys my membership. I get those two confused sometimes. Now, if I go to him and I express desire, and I say, hey, I want to get diesel. I'm ripped. I want to get shredded. I want to be hand swallow. He's going to say, oh, okay. He'll point, guide, and direct me on what to do. And it's up to me to do it. He's not going to hound me to do it. He's going to point, guide, and direct me based on my self-selection. Okay. What this will not teach you is how to make everyone a producer. But what it will is it'll create an environment and a culture that has people have more hope, that has people understand systems, that gives you boundaries so you're not the umbilical cord, or not everyone's plugging their umbilical cord back into you, right? So you're not running around mother henning everything and you're constantly busy, okay? But nothing is ever going to make everyone a super producer. But you want to eliminate that expectation that everyone's going to be super producers because they're not. But when you have more duplicatable systems, it retains more super producers. Because if a super producer comes into your organization and you don't have systems, processes, and boundaries, eventually they realize this and it's a big pain. It's a big pain. Like, my people are not making money, they're just quitting, and this leader doesn't have it figured out. Like, I should just go somewhere else. You'll have people lead. When you don't have strong systems and processes, you will have people lead. When you have strong culture, systems, and processes, fewer people leave. It'll never be no one leaves, because some people will leave. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, I'm going to be a vendor at a huge event. What is your best tip to collect people's email? I'm a scalp and hair educator. I want to give away a free 15-minute one-on-one consultation. So I wrote an article about this. Man, it'd be amazing if I could find it. I wrote an article about this in like 2005, I think. And it's how to run the most effective trade show or vendor table. There's a couple things that you can do, but depending on what type of event, let me tell you what we did. So we went to the largest real estate investor association, at least in the country at the time, which was in Ohio. And there was I think there was like 3,000 people attending. We were a vendor, okay? So we had a little tiny table. I just put together every form of persuasion I could possibly think of. And I thought to myself, okay, people attending this, what would they love to have? What would they love to have? I'm like, you know what? They would love real estate training. We bought these little Chinese, and this was many years ago, guys, so don't judge me. Nowadays, no one would want these things, but this was probably 20 years ago. And so we bought these little MP3 players, okay? And we loaded them with real estate training, because I ran a real estate club. So like we had tons of training. I just threw it on this little thing. And we did timed giveaways. Now, if you do timed giveaways and you have a great giveaway, you are going to get 90% of everyone that's in that event. And that's exactly what we did. So what's timed giveaways? So we had a karaoke machine for the speaker and the mic. I would need to know more about your event, give you, like, maybe you're not in that kind of environment. I will tell you, all other vendors will hate your guts, but you will walk out with 90% of the contacts. And that's exactly what we did. We did time giveaways. So I had a whole team. We were all in the same shirts. And this was when we were selling travel. We were selling a travel membership. So it couldn't have been 2005 then. It must have been 2000, either 6 or 7. Now that I think about it, either 2006 or 7. At 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, my people would walk through and say, we're giving away MP3 player filled with real estate, must be present to win. They would walk through the halls and we had an audience. There was a sea of people in front of our table. Okay. And I would stand on the chair and I would say, all right, we're about to draw. Make sure you get your business cards in. Make sure you put your stuff in. And I said, you got to be present to win. So make sure you put it in there. We're about to draw. But before we draw, let me just give you the quick 5-minute what we do. I had well over 2,000 people that heard my pitch and I got their contact information and we made a lot of sales. Now, if you're in an environment where you can't do that crazy of stuff, now all the other vendors literally hated our guts. They're complaining, these guys, okay. A lot of times the most effective thing doesn't win the approval of your competitors, but timed giveaways, very powerful. Having some kind of giveaway. Now, I would want a giveaway that I feel very confident most people would want. Would everyone want a 15-minute one-on-one hair consultation? I'm going to say probably not, unless you're the guru. And now let me say that, unless they see you as the guru. So if Patrick Bet David had a vendor event and he had a 15-minute one, everyone on the planet is entering their information. So if the people in that event see you as a guru, then that's a good idea. If the people at the event don't really know you that well, I would pick something else. Is it a humongous bottle of shampoo? Is it a red light therapy or something? So if Facebook leads cost you somewhere between $1 to $10 each, might you spend $50 to $100 for a great giveaway that everyone wants for all those leads? Yep. So I hope out of all of that, you got some ideas. How's today's economy affecting retention or attrition throughout the network marketing industry? And do what changes, if any, do we make? It's just more important than ever. Just know that loyalty of just assuming and being entitled to your team sticking around that ship has sailed. That ship has absolutely sailed. Of just thinking my people are going to stick around because I've poured into them in the past. No, got to be valuable. valuable. It's got to be, you got to be, can they see themselves being successful? Are they gaining real value? I mean, I think you have to work harder for retention now than ever before for a few reasons. There's more options. I mean, how many people years ago, they didn't have Uber as an option. Now they do. I can flip my little, whatever they do, switch or something, right? They turn their switch on and all of a sudden they're Ubering around making some money. It has to be valuable to be part of your organization. And what does that look like? You know, how are they being appreciated? There's even more sensitivity to that than ever before. Are they feeling appreciated? Are they in an environment where they're allowed to feel good about their level of result or level of desire, right? I mean, with AI, we have access to so much knowledge now. I think you just got to be adding value. You know, now I've been of that vein of thinking for a very, very long time. Like I don't feel I don't know why, but the thought of entitlement, I just hate it. I absolutely hate that word. I mean, I feel like I got to earn my wife every day. I feel like I don't just like, yeah, she'll be around, you know, like I feel like, not that I think she's going to leave, but I want to do nice things for her. I want to serve her. I want to value and add value to her. And I want her to be excited to see me, like, you know, and that's how I feel about my customers. That's how I feel about my clients. How do I add more value? How do I help them? You know, so I'm praying about my clients. I'm praying about my groups. I'm just attempting to add as much value as I possibly can. How can you tell whether someone's poor performance is a training problem, a leadership problem, or simply a sign that you're investing too much energy in the wrong person? So you want to be very aware of your time with someone. Well, I know this will sound wild to some people, but I've never seen it where increasing it in this situation. Now I'm a coach, so people hire me all the time, right? And I'll spend a specific amount of time with them to solve a problem. But when it comes to someone not paying for your time, I've never seen an increase of personal time invested with someone have any kind of algorithmic equal to production. I haven't seen it. Of, oh, if only I spent 8 hours with them, then they would get it. I haven't seen that. Never seen it. So the way that I like to think about this, I actually learned this from a guy named Jack Welch. Jack Welch was the CEO of General Electric for, I think, 25 years or so, and helped that business grow by 25,000% or something crazy. And he said there's 4 types of people. And this is real deal leadership right here. You ready for this one? Okay, 4 types of people. There's a person that carries the culture and hits their numbers and is productive. That's one type of person. Okay, very simple. Hug them, squeeze them. You know, if you're in a business, give them a raise, you can, or whatever, right? Keep them. There's the second type of person. They do not carry the culture and they do not produce. That also should be easy, right? You know, and what do I mean by carry the culture? So if they're demanding of you, if they're like, hey, Amy, you're supposed to, you know, why can't you come to my town? You know, like they're just demanding, they're toxic, they're always trying to suck all your energy and time. Someone who doesn't carry the culture, doesn't produce, right? You cut them off, right? Now, if you're in a business and you're paying them a salary, you fire them, you let them go. There's the third person. This is where it gets interesting. So those 2 are pretty straightforward. The third person, it's where it's interesting. Someone who carries the culture but isn't producing, you mentor them. Now, how you mentor them is important. When I was the #1 incomer of a network marketing company, if someone came to me and said, hey, Ray, how do I do this? In the beginning, I'd say, that's a great question. You know what? We don't have a video for that. Tell you what, I'm sure other people have that same question. Let me shoot a video. I'll send it over to you. And then whenever you have someone ask you that question, you can point them to the same video. See, that's systematic. But if I sit there and I'm just like, oh yeah, here's how you do it, blah, 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 right? And I don't record it. Doesn't go anywhere. They don't remember it. They can't replay it. It's non-duplicatable because I'm just espousing how wise I am. But if I record it, that's powerful. They can re-listen to it. They're like, you know what? I forget what he said. Let me re-listen to it. They can point people to it. Okay. But it gets to a point where if someone says, hey, Ray, how do you do this? I say, oh, great question. We actually have a video for that. Go watch the video and let me know when you're done. Any questions? Now, there's a 4th type of person. Remember, I detailed these. Someone who doesn't, #1, they have great, they carry the culture, they're producing, hug them, squeeze them. They don't carry the culture, they don't produce, we're very much limiting our time, or if they're in a traditional job, we're probably letting them go. #3, where it gets interesting, they aren't producing, but they carry the culture, we mentor them. #4, the hardest. This is where you separate real leaders. They produce, but they don't carry the culture. Got to cut them off. That's where you determine the real leadership there. Because if you keep someone who's a producing but toxic person and you keep giving them the limelight, you keep having them on stage, you keep letting them train, you keep doing all that stuff, and you know that they're toxic, you know that they're just leaving dead bodies in their wake, you're going to have a lot of people that would have stepped up, step out. That's the hardest. I've had to deal with that. I've had super producers that did not carry a culture of caring about anybody but themselves. And I've seen that when I've been brought into events. I've seen that with teams. I've seen it, that type of person. I had a guy invest in our, years ago in a $50,000 coaching package. And so he joins and I start coaching him. And I would tell him, hey, go do this. And the next week he'd come back having not done that and saying, I really need a plan. I'm like, well, what happened last week? I told you what to do. Did you do it? No, but I really need a plan. I'm like, I gave you a plan. A combination of a couple weeks of that, and my team, my support team is like, dude, this guy's terrible. Like, he's demanding this and that. And are we supposed to do this? Like, he was just demanding them, hey, I need this and get me that and do that. I go to him and I say, hey, brother, I'm going to refund your money. He's like, what? I'm like, I'm going to give you your 50,000 back. And it was so interesting how that went, right? So that was an example of, well, I mean, it's a little bit different. Like, he paid, right? So it's not like a team member, but he paid $50,000. I gave him his $50,000 back. After he receives it, he says, Ray, I just want to thank you. And I'm like, okay. And he says, I know I can be a pain in the butt. No one's ever done something like that. And thank you. It actually helped me. And he proceeds to shoot me a testimonial video. Like, all right, cool, man. Awesome. But that's where you separate. Real leaders. Are you willing to cut a producer who's bulldozing everyone, who's treating everyone like crap? Most people won't. They're too addicted to that dollar. They're too addicted to that production. They'll let 10 would-be producers go that left specifically because of this leader, because they're too worried about losing that production. To me, that's not walking in faith. I fully believe that if I'm called to cut someone off or refund somebody or whatever, I'm not addicted to that money. I know that God can replace it. I know that God can bring me someone even better. And I really believe that I believe all really of those people who reject you is a form of God's love and God's protection. Sometimes it's for us to grow. Sometimes it is to protect us from people we wouldn't like working with. So I hope that helps. That was an extremely long answer. When it has to do with mindset, would you use the same method? Point them in the direction of mindset work and have them report back? One, I mean, I would want to make sure that whatever I'm pointing them to is extremely relevant to what it is that they're dealing with. And so, like, for example, I mentioned earlier that people are cool with your ups if they're aware of your downs. If they're lacking hope and they're bummed out, and I send them to a video that's like, yeah, I'm the top earner and I'm and I'm not vulnerable at all, that ain't gonna help them. If I'm just barking at them on what to do, but I'm not sharing any of my scars that I have from my past or stumbling times that I've had, then it's probably not going to help them. The answer is yes, but it's specific type of training that I believe is going to help them in their situation. In the live event, you said you pitched. Was it a quick pitch or was there some presenting involved? And obviously you know better than me how to different. Yeah. So basically I didn't try to close. So like we're this little vendor table, right? And because of how we did it, we had a sea of people in front of our little table. And I'm up standing on a chair with a mic from a karaoke machine. And I'm like, all right, we're going to give the giveaway. I didn't do a full-blown presentation, but I'm telling them what we do. So some people said, hey, that's interesting. I want to know more. They stuck around, and some of them we did close. But I wanted everyone to get just the gist of what it is that we did so that when we followed up with them, they knew if that was interesting or not, if they were interested. Yeah, there you go. Great. Thank you. How do you implement when they aren't independent consultants or agents? Do you mean they're employees or what do you mean? I'm not clear what you're asking here, Heather. Heather, are you saying that they are independent or they're not independent? Because for this training, I'm assuming everyone's independent. If this was a training just for employees, I would have done it a little differently. Oh, are independent. Okay. Yeah. This is all for assuming they're independent. Yeah. So let me give you an example, then I'll answer Bonnie's question. So I had a small insurance team bring me in to look over their scripts. And this was like a ragtag team. There's like 8 of them. I looked at their scripts and I said, okay, change this, change this, change this. Don't do that. Get rid of that. They had a little office. They had 8 desks. Now I tweaked their scripts and the next week they made $40,000 more in sales than they had ever made. Best week ever by $40,000, this little group. And in that kind of environment, you got 8 desks. If someone doesn't perform quickly, you need to get rid of them because you only got 8 desks, right? Those of you that are in direct sales or network marketing, you can have 600,000 people and you're not paying an overhead. You don't have a warehouse that's everyone's showing up at. If someone isn't a producer in your team, it's not taking away from you, at least shouldn't be. But if you're in that kind of scenario where you only have so many desks and you got a limited amount of electricity and utilities and bathrooms, et cetera, people need to produce or they need to get out of there. I did not create the train for that scenario. It'd be a different training. All right. How do you handle when the energy suckers really want to hang around you because you're producing good results, but they will hold you back? We're called to be salt and light, the light of the world, right? We're called to love on people. No one should have the ability to hold you back. So I don't know if you have a specific scenario where you're being held back in some way, but no one should have that ability. I have plenty of people around me that I feel may overlook me or not hire me or not even think that highly of me. That doesn't affect me because I know my identity. I know how God sees me. And when you have that, you don't need the approval of others. I require no approval. I just don't. And that's probably very strange, right? Because that's it wasn't always this way. There were definitely times where I would be very much seeking approval from others. I just don't do that anymore. I feel very good about me and my Heavenly Father's relationship. And some people may or may not think I'm awesome, and that's okay. That's okay. So I hope that helps. I'm not sure if it does, but I hope that helps. And I just appreciate you guys so very much. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being here the whole time. The free download, higgingroup.com/leader. If you do want to join the Sales Leadership Mastermind, you get all kinds of goodies. It's listed on the page. I would love to work with you. Would love to help you in your organization. I believe that you're on here because you have something you love and you just want to impact more people with it. And I know that I can help. I know that I can help. Appreciate you so very much. God bless you guys. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.